It is the summer of 1982, and the Green River flows like it always has, smooth and silent. This summer, however, there is trouble on the riverfront. The bodies of two young prostitutes, Wendy Caulfield and Deb Bonner, have turned up in the river's wash. 32-year-old homicide detective Dave Reichert is assigned to work the cases. 3 days after Bonner's body is discovered, Reichert's phone rings. It's a call from dispatch and more trouble along the river.
I couldn't believe it. I put the phone down and turned to my wife and said, "They found 2 more bodies in the river. I gotta go."
Reichert heads for a bend in the Green River, where a rafter spotted the bodies, both black females. Crime scene investigators cordon off the area and begin to comb it for clues. Reichert himself is pushing his way through tall grass when he nearly steps on yet another body. This third victim is a light-skinned black girl. Her hair is dyed red, and there are jeans around her neck.
She was face down, if I recall correctly, and so we knew we had a serial killer, obviously, working here.
This is being described as one of the nastiest homicides in King County record. 25 detectives have been assigned to the case full-time, making this one of the largest investigations in the county's history.
5 women, all dumped in or near the Green River in 1 month. With a body count at 5 and counting, community unrest begins to grow.
King County detectives are now forming a task force to investigate the murders. They have no suspect, no motive, and very little evidence.
The news media, of course, wanted to know, what are you going to do? This looks like a serial killing to us, too.
The case is quickly dubbed the Green River Killings. King County forms a task force, with Dave Reichert at its head. The detectives field hundreds of tips. Promising leads are followed but go nowhere. Meanwhile, 1982 draws to a close. No new bodies surface in the Green River, and people begin to believe the killing season is past. With the Green River killings now 7 months cold, Reichert's task force has been disbanded. The public has all but forgotten the murders. With nowhere else to turn, Reichert stops by the office of a friend who also happens to be one of the foremost criminal investigators in the country, a man named Bob Keppel. He agrees to sift through the files and assess the case. What Keppel finds is a large investigation with a lot of holes in it.
They really didn't have a dedicated methodology to approaching pimps and prostitutes about gaining information from them.
Keppel introduces new protocols to organize, classify, and assess information developed in the field. Keppel also tells Reichert the Green River Killer is not finished killing and had most likely never stopped. The error made by investigators, focusing their efforts on the river itself and assuming all of the victims would be dumped there. In the summer and fall of 1983, bodies of young women litter the King County countryside. Behind a baseball field, 1 body is discovered. South of the airport, 3 more. By the end of 1983, 14 bodies in all, with 23 more women missing and presumed dead. Most of the victims fit the same profile: prostitutes and runaways, taken off the streets.
The latest additions to the list only serve as a reminder that somewhere in our midst is a cold-blooded killer.
It seemed like we were getting further and further behind him because as we discovered the bodies, recovered the bodies, identified the bodies, we are now months and years behind him.
A second task force is formed with Reichert again in the lead. But that just seems to goad the Green River Killer into fresh bloodshed. In 1984, 14 more bodies are discovered, 4 in an area near Star Lake, used by the killer as his personal graveyard.
On Monday, the Green River Task Force completed a 3-day search of a wooded area near Star Lake. 4 skeletons were found, bringing the Green River death toll to 20.
By 1986, more than 50 detectives work the Green River case. The FBI has weighed in with a profile of the killer, a white male, loner, in his mid-30s. The break in the case, however, will come from old-fashioned police work. 2 rank-and-file detectives, Randy Mullinax and Matt Haney, pore through the old files and begin to make some connections between Green River victims and a local truck painter named Gary Leon Ridgway.
And we could directly connect him with several victims, and the deeper we looked, the more the connections were being made.
On April 8, 1987, detectives take bodily fluid samples from Ridgway and conduct a search of his house and truck. Of the thousands of items taken from Ridgway's home, none of them can be connected to any of the victims. Gary Ridgway is never arrested, and the investigation once again goes cold.
As time dragged on, there was a sense of disappointment, still looking for that critical piece that you needed to make the arrest and get the conviction.
With no arrests in the offing, county officials balk at the millions of dollars being spent on the case and slowly begin to shut the investigation down. Reichert believes the case can still be solved. His best chance, the blossoming field of forensic DNA. Bev Himmick is a DNA analyst at the State Crime Lab in Seattle. In the summer of 2001, Reichert gets clearance for her to work the Green River case. Using a new technique known as short tandem repeat, or STR DNA testing, Himmick does what no one before her could. She harvests a genetic profile of the Green River killer.
It was really exciting. We knew that we've got good potential here to get some information. This is going to happen this time.
In 1987, Ridgway provided police with a DNA sample by chewing on a piece of gauze. Himmick pulls out the gauze and goes to work.
I analyzed the gauze that was chewed on from him. That was collected in the 80s, and there was a match.
Within a week, Himmick links Gary Ridgway to 3 more victims. Detective Tom Jensen hand carries the DNA report to Sheriff Reichert's office.
He pulls out this envelope, and he hands it to me, and he says, his mugshot's in here. And I said, Tom, I don't even need to open that. It's Gary Ridgway.
On November 30th, 2001, 2 detectives confront Ridgway as he leaves work.
I walked over and they said, Mr. Ridgway, he said, yes, you're under arrest for the murders of 4 women connected to the Green River case. His reply pretty much was, oh, okay.
After 14 stalled years, all of a sudden the Green River killer case is revived.
Ridgway's lawyers have a sit-down with their client and explain the facts of life in a murder case. If Ridgway goes to trial, he will probably lose and earn a place on death row.
And at that point, Gary broke down and started to cry and said, well, maybe he should start cooperating.
Savage extends an offer to the state. His client will take police to the dump sites of women still missing, if he can avoid the death penalty. The prosecutor's initial reaction is predictable.
No. How could I ever consider setting aside the death penalty?
Over the next 3 weeks, Malang wrestles with the idea of a plea for Ridgway and finally concludes that seeking answers for the families is the right thing to do. On June 13th, 2003, the deal is signed.
How do you plead to the charge of aggravated murder in the first degree as charged in count 1 for the death of Wendy Lee Caulfield?
Guilty.
On November 5th, 2003, a judge reads the roll call of the deceased. 19 years worth of killing at the hands of Gary Ridgway.
Guilty.
As the names were being read off, one at a time, how do you plead? Guilty. How do you plead? Guilty. And you get to 17, and then 20, and then 25, and then you're at 30, and then you're at 35, and then you're at 40.
How do you plead to the charge of aggravated murder in the first degree as charged in count 31 for the death of Debbie M. Abernathy?
Guilty.
6 weeks after the plea comes sentencing.
While you could not face them as you took their lives, you will face those young women in your dreams and private thoughts of your grisly deeds. You will be haunted for the balance of your life.
Gary Ridgway is sentenced to 48 consecutive life terms. His story finished. The rest of his life to be spent in a prison cell, alone with the memories of those he killed.